React now recommends everyone tries that compiler to fix your bad code and forget that useMemo, useCallback, and React.memo ever existed. But what is it solving and how? After you hit subscribe, we'll find out. At its core, the whole point of the compiler is to automatically memoize your code. This means it tells certain parts of your application not to recompute if their inputs haven't changed, reducing the work on updates. The initial release of the compiler is focused on two use cases: skipping cascading re-renders and skipping expensive calculations outside of React. I have both those issues in this example. When I update the counter, the main component re-renders because of the state change, and therefore all of its child components do, and all of that. Even a component as simple as our dummy one here, which is just text. It's also redoing the expensive prime number calculation. Now for this example, this is still quite simple, and React performs so well that it doesn't really matter. But it starts to become a problem if the child components are complex or if there are many of them. If I turn on the React compiler though, with zero code changes, the re-renders look like this. The only component re-rendering is the main one, not its children, since it's the one with the counter state and display. This also means it's not rerunning the expensive prime number calculation. Easy win. To understand what the compiler is doing though, we need to understand the ancient ways before the compiler. So let's fix this manually. The first trick is to turn all of our components into pure components. React.memo says, hey React, don't re-render this unless its props change. If I apply this to every component, we can see that it's fixed only the dummy one. Let's investigate. Starting with the prime number component, is the prop not always the same? I mean, it's always the same set of prime numbers. Well no, React actually compares the prop by reference, not value. When the main component re-renders, the prime calculation reruns, the values are identical, but the array created is unique. To fix this, we need to use useMemo. Now, on the first render of the main component, it will run the calculation, but for every other render, it will use the previous value it calculated, unless its dependency array has changed. In my case, it's empty, but the dependency array is useful to tell React when do you want it to recalculate that cached value. The same thing occurs, by the way, if we had a static array. It's technically recreated each time main re-renders, so you'd wrap that in useMemo too. One final re-render to clean up then, the increment button. This is re-rendering for the same reason. React comparing by reference, not value. Each time main re-renders, the function is recreated, so it's seen as a new prop. To stop this, we could actually use useMemo again, but React provides a cleaner way. Use callback. This is essentially the exact same as useMemo, but for functions. We wrap our function in it and we provide it with a dependency array to tell React when to recreate it. There we go, all of the re-renders have now gone, except for the necessary ones, and we're back to where we were with the React compiler. The issue is that was 10 times more messy to look at, it requires us to know where the problems exist and how to fix them, and it also requires us to think about the trade-off of when to optimize, as a small gain might not be worth the development time. The compiler, however, does all of this under the hood for you to everything. The only requirement for this to work on your code base is that you follow the rules of React. To help with this, they have an ESLint plugin that will point out when you violate the rules. The compiler will skip over that component or hook, but it will still optimize the rest of your code. The compiler is now at the release candidate stage and has been used in production at companies like Meta. I'll leave a link below to a React post that explains how you can enable this in your code base, no matter what, whether it's Vite, Next.js, Expo, Babel, anything like that. Let me know your thoughts down below, subscribe, and as always, see you in the next one.